I rushed outside, heart pounding. The scene was surreal. My wife, Alyssa, just back from months commanding operations in the Persian Gulf, being questioned in our own driveway. And there was Patricia, our self-declared HOA tyrant, jabbing her finger in the air, screaming for an arrest. Neighbors gathered on their lawns, some already recording. Officer Daniels, per his nameplate, held up a hand to stop me. His partner, Officer Nguyen, continued questioning Alyssa. She stood calm, answering with military precision. Yes, she lived here. Yes, she just returned from deployment. No, she didn't need HOA permission to come home. Patricia wasn't having it. She shrieked that real military personnel would notify the board, claimed the uniform was probably bought online. She demanded a weapons check, ranting that imposters were dangerous. And yes, she said, "I pay your salary 3 times in 2 minutes." Then Nguyen asked for ID. Alyssa slowly pulled out her military identification. That changed everything. Nguyen's eyes widened. Daniel's casual stance vanished. They studied her insignia. Something clicked. Daniels cleared his throat. "Ma'am, I apologize. We received a report of suspicious activity." Alyssa gave a crisp nod. She understood. They were just doing their job. What she didn't understand was why Patricia was now yelling about knowing the police chief. And then, Nguyen stepped back, straightened his uniform, and saluted. "Former Navy, ma'am. Machinist mate, 2nd class. Served on the Lincoln. It's an honor." Patricia's mouth fell open. The crowd murmured. Alyssa returned the salute with practiced ease. And just like that, the power shifted. The officers turned to Patricia. Why had she called 911 for a non-emergency? Did she realize false reports are a crime? Interfering with military personnel? That's federal. Patricia sputtered, turning 5 shades of red. Alyssa stepped forward, steady. "Officers, thank you, but I'd really like to see my husband now. It's been a long deployment." She glanced at Patricia. "Unless there's an actual crime being reported?" Patricia scrambled for her phone, claiming she had HOA bylaws requiring residents to notify the board of absences. She muttered about procedures and community standards. The officers remained unimpressed. One asked that they should pull up her 911 history, like the suspicious packages that turned out to be Amazon boxes. The crowd grew. I recognized many, folks Patricia had bullied for years. The Johnsons, fined for beige shutters. The Gwynns, cited for a kid's bike visible from the street. Then came Daniel's warning. "Ma'am, this is your official notice for misuse of emergency services. One more call like this and you'll be cited. Also, making false claims against military personnel may result in federal charges." Patricia's hand trembled as she accepted the paper. Her voice cracked as she protested her rights as HOA president. Alyssa shook hands with the officers, chatted briefly about duty stations, and Patricia stood frozen, citation in hand. As the officers pulled away, neighbors applauded. Mrs. Chen, from 2 doors down, actually clapped. Patricia hissed, "This isn't over. Your grass is probably overregulation." Alyssa looked at her. "Ma'am, I've spent 8 months dealing with threats to national security. Your tape measure doesn't scare me." We went inside. Through the window, I watched Patricia storm home, nearly tripping over the Andersons' perfectly positioned garden gnome. Alyssa collapsed on the couch. "Some homecoming." I joked, "At least you didn't face enemy fire." She laughed. Enemy fire was more predictable than suburban politics. That night, the neighborhood lit up. Facebook posts exploded with celebration emojis. A video of the salute hit 47 reactions in under an hour. Patricia didn't go quietly. She spent the next day marching house to house with a clipboard. Few answered. Those who did closed the door in her face. By sunset, she resorted to leaving typed notices on doors, official-looking HOA letters claiming a hostile military takeover. She cited 17 fake bylaws, threatened lawsuits, claimed Alyssa needed to be investigated by Homeland Security. But the next morning brought karma. Dr. Harrison, our mild-mannered board member, knocked at 7:30 a.m. Behind him stood 4 others. They came in. Mrs. Foster from the bakery handed Alyssa a homemade welcome cake. The board had held an emergency vote. It was unanimous. Patricia Garrison was removed as HOA president, effective immediately. And then it got better. They'd reviewed her 911 history, 37 false reports in 18 months. She'd called about terrorist activity during a family reunion, claimed drug dealing when teens were selling lemonade. The city fined her $500. Police considered additional charges. And her employer, a law firm with "Support Our Troops" stickers in the window, fired her after seeing the video. 3 days later, a moving truck arrived. Patricia, still trying to look in charge, directed the movers while carrying a box labeled "Kitchen Misk" in shaky handwriting. The whole neighborhood was suddenly busy outside, sweeping, watering, pretending not to watch. She made one last stand, marched to our door, chin up, and handed me an envelope. "A bill," she declared, "for grass height violations, $3,200. I glanced at the paper, then at Alyssa. She took it, read it, then smiled. "You're absolutely right. A few blades are over by 1/8 of an inch, but since you're no longer HOA president and have been removed for cause, this has no legal standing." She folded it gently. "But I'll keep it as a souvenir of your service to our community." Patricia looked stunned. Her mouth moved, but no words came. She turned, walked to her car, and drove off. The moment her tires hit the exit, someone clapped. Then another. Soon, 40 people lined the sidewalk in a standing ovation. Her final screech as she peeled out of Cedar Heights. That was the last we ever heard from Patricia Garrison.